All right, welcome, and we already know what's going on. It is indeed Liberation Day. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about. A lot of volatility happened today, and a bit of a pump going on leading up to all this that ultimately ended up resulting in us going back to square one as if nothing happened here. So we're going to talk about all of that in today's stream. Got a bit of other news in terms of responses to these tariffs that Trump has put in. All of this whole Liberation Day is, of course, just basically a tariff announcement. Reciprocal tariffs, new tariffs, etc. And April Fools. April Fools Day was also a major part of it. Thanks for reminding me. So, I mean, yeah, maybe this was a big April Fool's joke, this whole price action that we were seeing here. Seemed like we were about to hit a golden cross on the price action of Bitcoin, but ultimately ended up being nothing. And yeah, we're back all the way down here. We actually had a good run though. We reached a high of 88,500, which is pretty decent. This line is... Never mind, yeah, it's valid. It's holding a resistance at 89,000, but we haven't reached that yet. We reached 88,500 flat. That's pretty interesting. And on our way up, I saw this in the morning. I did take some profits because I was anticipating a drop, which, I mean, we did get a drop. But we kept on rising, surprisingly, before all of this happened. So Trump started speaking around 4 o'clock p.m., that's when he was announcing his whole Liberation Day, his Liberation Day in America. So from there, we can obviously see that there was a drop at 16 o'clock, 4 o'clock. We had a good volatility increase to the upside. It seems like we were so back for a moment, like we have just broken down the downtrend. We've broken out of this resistance, the first resistance that we have, and we were about to get a golden cross. Everything was looking great right over here. RSI was very oversold, overbought, by the way, not oversold. And, I mean, by the end of it, I don't even know why we dropped here. I guess crypto wasn't announced anywhere, and people got upset about that. But he did it at 4 o'clock p.m. because at 4 o'clock is the time when the U.S. stock market closes, so that nobody could, trade during this time. Because one of the things that he did mention was that he's made up his mind on the tariffs and that Wall Street will be just fine. Hence him doing all of this stuff at 4 o'clock p.m. when the market is closed. No markets are open by then. I just closed the wrong tab. So that being the case, the next market to open will be the Asian market, which already did open, and that happened at 8 o'clock. It seems like they're buying this dip over here ever since 8 o'clock. It's currently 9 right now. But since crypto is 24/7, it experienced a 7% drop from its high. And we're slowing down around this area right now. Practically in still within our downtrend here, we could say. So, yeah, it was looking fine until, after the announcement was over, we saw what the results are. I'm guessing people didn't like that. I do have some analysis to go over for that, so we'll review in a sec. I'll look at Ethereum. It was also going really well, and we did have a dip as predicted. I did predict this as well. We would not be seeing a drop lower than this level, 1,780 approximately, due to the fact that, I mean, this line right over here is a very important uptrend that we must not break, right? So that's fine. We were breaking out of this downtrend as well, it seemed like, but we're back to square one, essentially with everything. Would I have to readjust this downtrend? What is this downtrend from? Very long-term downtrend. I could slightly readjust. I'll leave it there for now, because right now we're within this weird transitionary period. We don't know exactly what's going to happen next. We're still expecting responses from a majority of other countries, especially China, because China seems like they were hit the hardest with this, and I'll explain why. Should I just get into it? I think we'll get into it. The whole point, of course, of all these tariffs is job growth, factory resurgence, lower consumer prices is the promise from Trump. And here was a chart that he showed to the world. China. These are okay. The first column is the tariffs that are being charged to the United States. It seems like he's coming from a fair place here that everybody is charging the United States tariffs, but when the United States does tariffs back to them, everybody suddenly starts freaking out. The whole idea was either Trump was going to do a 10% reciprocal tariff on everybody. He's just going to charge everyone 10% no matter what, or maybe a higher percentage. The other option would have been he would have matched everybody else's tariffs 1-to-1, which was something that was practically signed before, I think, earlier when during the administration, when he was signing all these executive orders. I thought that was one of them, but I guess not, or maybe that was changed now. And it seems like he is putting half of whatever the countries charge the United States would charge them half of that. Kind of like okay, there is your retaliatory tariff, but it's not matched up 1-to-1. What you charge us, we will charge you. We're just going to charge you half of what you're charging us. Which, if you still do want to do trades like that, then so be it, right? With a minimum, though, there's a conditional here of 10%. You'll see in some instances, there's some countries like, UK, Singapore, Chile, Australia, Turkey, Colombia, 10% tariffs are being charged on the United States. United States did the same thing with a 10% because you'll see that none of these percentages are less than 10%. They're at least minimum 10%. Now, for the rest of the other countries, China, for example, charging the United States a 67% tariff, they're going to charge them half of that. So 34%, almost half, right? European Union, he said that they were very nasty. They're charging us 39%, almost 40%. So he's charging them half of that, 20%, etc. for the rest of these countries. People were outraged by the very high percentages of countries like Vietnam, Cambodia. I think there was Madagascar somewhere in here. Yeah, that was a big meme. And Laos for some reason. So, of course, they're getting a 50% tariff approximately, 40-something. Yeah, and I also saw there was Ecuador somewhere in here. Here, 12%. Why are we charging a 12% tariff? What are we doing? Anyway, that's the summary of the reciprocal tariffs that were announced. There you go. He announced tariffs on 185 countries at once, one of the largest tariffs in U.S. history. Due to this, the S&P 500 futures, so this is, you can trade after hours, right? There is the possibility of doing that. It erased $2 trillion of market cap in under 15 minutes. So tomorrow morning, we're going to expect to open in the downside for Wall Street. Even though Trump said, oh, Wall Street's going to be just fine. Well, we'll see. Asian markets, I don't know what they're opening at. I can go review them in a second. But so far, for Wall Street, it's not going to look that great tomorrow. Announcement began with a Washington Street Journal. I could be wrong. Wall Street Journal. I'm crazy. Wall Street Journal report that a 10% baseline tariff would be imposed by the U.S. Okay, that was what we all thought. While it was true, it was true. Markets took it as all reciprocal tariffs were 10%. That would have been good if it was just a 10% reciprocal tariff. I don't know why people would think that was good. I'm all for, go full on 1-to-1 reciprocal tariff everyone. But no, I'm pretty sure that would be too extreme and would probably crash markets even more than what they already have, even with half of it that was just charged right now. This quickly changed as President Trump began outlining many other tariffs well above 10%. He did start talking about the other countries as well. How much that percentage would be is what we didn't know at the time, but now we know with that big list. I'll probably keep the list open just because it's useful to go back and reference this. But the first part of it was true. At least a 10% reciprocal tariff was indeed charged to all countries, right? At 426, Trump picked up the poster right here. Before he picked it up, the futures were going up. So was Bitcoin. Bitcoin was actually reaching this level, not this level, 88,500, I think I said, yeah. It was all the way up here. I could go into a smaller time frame here. At 415, 418 is what this says, or 426. This is a 15-minute chart, right? Everything was going good and rising until... Oh my gosh, I hate this. I have so many tabs open. Until 442, that's when everything fell, including crypto. It was insane to watch. First, Trump explained how the reciprocal tariffs were calculated. He said because the US is very kind, tariffs will be imposed at half of the rate of whatever countries are currently charging the US. If you tariff 20%, they will tariff you 10%. It's vastly different than a 10% tariff across the board. For example, at the top of the list is China, which the US claims they currently charge 67% tariffs. That means it's a 34% tariff that will be going for China. Same deal with Europe, a 20% tariff. It's more than the 10% that we were expecting. NASDAQ futures are indicating that we could open minus 500 points lower, which is a significant drop. They were up nearly 400 points at the beginning of the announcement. But, yeah. Weakness in tech stocks, it's going to hurt. And I explained this before. People are moving away from tech stocks, specifically due to this kind of deal. And focusing more of their investor attention into energy stocks, right? That seems to be what's hot at the moment. No longer tech stocks. That's where we're seeing a price drop in NVIDIA, AMD, Intel, all these other companies, Taiwan Semiconductors. You can mainly look at the semiconductor ETFs to get a brief idea on where everything is standing. There's drops there. At 3:02 p.m. Eastern Time, we saw the post below. Okay. These guys cashed out shorts for... Okay, well, good for them. Make America Wealthy Again event concluded. Markets held losses. Then the White House posted a full list of tariffs on X as shown below. It's right over here. This sent futures to a new low with the S&P 500. So what did all this mean? Prior to the tariffs being announced, here is what the US average tariff rate looked like. With the announcement of these tariffs, we will see an average tariff rate that is above 10%. These are above levels seen during World War II. That's pretty significant, right? The question becomes, how long will these tariffs persist? If these tariffs hold, we expect a 150 basis point reduction of US GDP growth. It's not good. Trump administration wants to generate $600 billion a year from tariffs. However, we think these tariffs would raise 50% of that amount. It's probably not going to be as good as it seems, is what people are speculating. On the plus side, there were no new reciprocal tariffs announced for Canada or Mexico. That was significant, and that's something I also had separated over here. Canada mentioned, okay, we know that this tariff stuff is coming, this Liberation Day. You know what, United States? If you remove all tariffs on Canada, we will remove all tariffs on you. Similar to that, Mexico, Claudia Sheinbaum, president of Mexico, she said that we will also not impose tit-for-tat tariffs. Like, we're not going to, immediately respond with counter tariffs like they have, or at least tried copying Canada doing so in the past. But, they're not subject to reciprocal tariffs for now, so that is the good news. USMCA, that's the United States, Mexico, Canada, compliant goods, is like the North American Free Trade Organization, but better. I think it's better, I don't know. Will not see new tariffs, which was certainly a surprise to markets. That was indeed a surprise. So there's also some interesting exemptions from tariffs, as shown over here. Copper, pharmaceuticals, semiconductors, lumber articles are exempt from tariffs, per the White House announcement. Just days ago, Trump said pharma tariffs were coming soon. This is a big change. There you go. The timing details. The 10% baseline tariff on all countries is set to take effect on April 5th. That's important. Individualized reciprocal higher tariffs will take effect on April 9. The tariffs will remain in effect until Trump determines that the threat posed by the trade deficit is satisfied. President Trump also said that tax cuts are coming. Said they were going to have the largest tax cuts in American history. This will not include cuts to Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid benefits, etc. Investor sentiment is deteriorating further, and swings in the market are broadening. Heading into today, the U.S. posted a historic $300 billion plus 2-month trade deficit. In the coming days before April 5th and April 9th, we expect the largest 1-week trade deficit in U.S. history. Producers are panicking, and that's all we have in terms of an analysis for all those tariffs. Shout out to Kobasi letter. Israel also was among one of the countries who were trying to get on the good side of the United States, kind of like how Canada was saying, if you remove all tariffs, we'll remove all tariffs. Israel did the same thing. They actually did it, though. They removed all their tariffs on the U.S. goods to avoid Trump's reciprocal tariffs. But regardless, they still got slapped with a 17% tariff, so it was all for nothing. It's pretty funny. Anyway. China, I mentioned this already, but it's important. It's worth noting. The 34% tariff on China stacks on the existing 20% tariff that already existed. Remember initially when Trump put 25% tariff on Canada and Mexico, and then a 10% tariff on China, which didn't make a lot of sense for people. Then he doubled that tariff to 20%. And now, because China was charging a 60-something percent tariff on the United States, they're doing half of that, which is 34%. And on top of that, you stack the 20% that already existed from before, making it a 54% tariff on China. And that is probably the main reason why we're seeing a drop. China-US trade war, it's going to hurt. We'll see what Xi Jinping responds to this, right? That's still part of it. Already in preparation for it, though, this is the day before. Or no, this is today, actually, in the morning. China already restricted companies from investing in the U.S. states. In response to President Trump's tariffs. There you go. United States also is imposing sanctions on Russia. This has to do with Russia-Ukraine war kind of thing. And yeah, I think that's all we have for this whole tariff thing. It seems like the drop has slowed down around this area. 82,137 was the lowest point we've seen so far. And we're on our way back up, recovering 83,250. Yeah. I do want to have a look at Solana here. Oh, look at that. Beautiful drop. And lands right on that uptrend. Uptrend is still in play, fellas. That's good. This is a very long-term uptrend. So I'm glad to see that this is still in play. It also coincided with the first support. One of the levels that I mentioned, not yesterday, day before yesterday, of how far we can see a drop in Solana. This is perfect. Look, first rise reached the first pivot point. Second rise reached as high, it did break the downtrend, of course, but we reached a high of right over here, this other line that I had drawn at 136, also coinciding with the super trend, potential trend reversal in the 4-hour chart. We were very close to seeing a trend switch in Solana, but it was not the case. We dropped and we reached the first support line and uptrend. This is just perfect. Peak price action, right? It's wonderful. In terms of these downtrends, I'm pretty sure every coin had a downtrend and it got broken a little bit, right? We can all agree on that. Maybe it's a continuation here. Maybe it's an adjustment we'd have to do. I don't know. I'll have to see. Only time will tell. For now, I'd wait what we see at the bottom over here. Can we continue dropping? It would be devastating, but I don't think we will. But still, you must prepare for the worst case scenario. I think the worst has already gone behind us. And this was already in the back of my mind, due to M2 money supply that I've seen, like, I just knew that today was going to be one of those days that we had a drop. But what I'm happy with, and this might sound crazy, but, I'm happy after our first drop over here that we recovered. We rallied quite a bit, right? I was expecting Monday and Tuesday to be like down days because of, oh, we're preparing for this whole tariff thing and we know everything is going to drop. Like, this is guaranteed. It's going to drop. Um, so what are you supposed to do if you know it's going to drop? You would just sell or wait it out, right? That's kind of what I did. But what happened instead just goes to show you can never predict the market. It started rising yesterday and the day before yesterday, Monday, Tuesday. Even today, this morning, we were still rising and reaching very high levels. And even still, we dropped. But I feel like that rise in price was necessary because if we stayed flat or down here, and then we dropped from 80,000, another 7%, we would be looking at, oh gosh, I don't even want to think about these numbers, but basically 76,000 or maybe less. Hopefully not less, but you get the point, right? You realize how dangerous that could have been. So it's a good thing that we actually rose in price so that the big drop that was inevitably going to happen wasn't going to be so bad. Right? We basically ended up where we started, which basically just cancels out the whole little rally that we had, which is fine. I'm fine with it, right? From here, I know we will stay around this zone. We're not going to pass 90,000 until end of the month. Or maybe we can. I don't know. Who knows? Look how fast the price can rise as well. But also look at how fast it can drop. It's a very volatile asset. What do you expect? This was a big fundamental day. We're getting more fundamentals coming soon that can bring even more, not even more, I don't think, but just some volatility nonetheless. In terms of if we're getting a rate cut, non-farm payroll data is also coming. Yeah, all that information, economic data mainly, is what we're expecting to see. But from here, did we bottom? I think we actually did. First indicator as to why. Super trend. Look at where it is. Below 80,000. That's really good. This is the lowest green flip of a super trend in the 4-hour chart with 5 and 5 configuration that we have seen ever, right? Possible bottom indicator, my opinion. Many things are pointing to a bottom indicator. The fact that we cracked open a dent in this downtrend. This is, I think, the prevailing downtrend, right? It is. Like, there's no other downtrend from here. This is the most important downtrend that it has been respecting ever since, right? Various occasions, it's respected this downtrend where it approaches it and drops. Approaches it, drops. Approaches it, drops. Approaches, drops. Approaches, drops, etc. So now that we have this little crack in the downtrend, you just got to focus on Bitcoin just to later on check out all the altcoins. That's why I've been holding off on the altcoins for a moment here. Focus on Bitcoin first. Ethereum will follow Bitcoin. Altcoins, the rest of them, will follow Ethereum. Reason altcoins are all down is because of Ethereum, whether you like it or not. Ethereum is under $2,000, which is horrible to see, but something has to be done about it. First of all, Trump holds a lot of Ethereum, and that's what I'm going to get to right now. Donald Trump Jr., his sons, also hold a lot of Ethereum. Their project, World Liberty Financial, tons of Ethereum in there. Eric Trump says major companies are now hoarding Bitcoin on their balance sheets and predicts explosive growth ahead for crypto. Did he call a good time to buy Ethereum at 2,900? Yeah, he did, and Ethereum is down another 15% from there. I don't know, whatever it is. But, he's still bullish on the market. I mean, what better? It's just so many good fundamentals, and I'm going to get to all of them here. He also said on Fox that Bitcoin is one of the greatest stores of value, immediately liquid, and an unbelievable hedge against real estate. Oh, also, the reason there are people saying that The reason why we had this pump over here was due to April Fools. April Fools did happen. Okay, that was yesterday. There was a lot of fake news posted. It was a bit overwhelming. I even had to delete some of my bookmarks because I didn't understand what was actual news, what was not actual news. Like I saw something crazy and I believed it, that United Arab Emirates was going to buy 500,000 bitcoins. They're starting a strategic Bitcoin reserve. That's not real. They're not going to do that. I mean, they could. They're rich, and you know it's practically the same amount that Michael Saylor has bought, and probably at a decent price, right? 80 something thousand. That's fine, but they're not going to do that, and it's not confirmed. Another fake news post that almost got me was the fact that Fed Chair Powell was resigning because he didn't like Trump. I saw that and I'm like, wow, that's I don't know what to think about that. But like, what would even happen in that situation if that was real? It just got me thinking as well. Like the Fed Chair Powell, the guy behind whether or not we're getting interest rate cuts, suddenly he's stepping down during the moment that we need him the most. Like the next FOMC meeting, we're expecting a rate cut. That's going to happen in May. May, we're also expecting to blast off from here, according to M2 Money Supply. Yeah, I don't know. And, okay, this is what this post is all about. Trump came out with this tweet yesterday, it was an April Fool's post. He said that I'm ending all the tariffs today against China, Canada, and Mexico. There will be no reciprocal tariffs either. God bless America. That's one of the reasons why he didn't want to announce these reciprocal tariffs on April 1st, because he didn't want it to all be taken as a joke. But he still took advantage of the day and managed to make a joke out of it. So there you go. That's probably part of the reason why we had a pump yesterday as well. But don't worry, that pump is all gone immediately. There was also this rumor going around about Elon Musk's reportedly was going to be stepping back from his role in Doge, the Department of Government Efficiency, in the upcoming weeks. I've made a video about this before, but the reason Elon Musk is being attacked a lot and his Tesla stock is dropping like crazy is because of the fact that he works for the government now. He's good friends with Trump, and nobody, well, not nobody, but people don't like Trump, and you know, now they're really hating Elon Musk for quote unquote betraying the Democrat Party, because he used to be a Democrat ages ago until this election. He decided, you know what, no, this is all wrong. You guys are violent. I'm going to vote for Trump and give him my full endorsement. And he ended up like actually working with him, right? They became good buddies. But the White House reports that these claims are false. According to Caroline Levitt, the press secretary, the fact that Elon Musk and President Trump have both publicly stated that Elon will depart from public service as a special government employee when his incredible work at Doge is complete. Okay, that's kind of what the wording was. Okay, it was when his work at Doge is complete, then he will be stepping back. It's a lot. I'm not going to read all this, but yeah, you can see for yourself. Fake news. It's basically fake news. People just attacking Elon still. There was also this news that came out that on April 5th, on top of these reciprocal tariffs, we were also going to see a reveal from the US government's Bitcoin and crypto holdings on April 5th. That would have been cool. Also part of probably the reason why the market was rising. But apparently that is also fake news. Apparently, I don't even know if this is actually going to happen. I don't know what to believe or not. This all happened on April 1st. There's a lot of fake news spreading that on Twitter, that the US will reveal Bitcoin and crypto holdings on April 5th. Apparently it is not true. I don't even know anymore. We'll just wait until April 5th, and if they release it, good. If they don't, I already know that they have 200,000 Bitcoin and some XRP, Solana, Cardano, and Ethereum. Nice. CZ from Binance. This also, this whole April Fool's thing, it's hurting my brain. He burned $10 million, no, 10 million broccoli coins, which was worth $1 million, and 798 broccoli cab. I don't even know what these are. Like, I know broccoli. Okay, broccoli is a meme coin on Binance. It has to do with CZ, the founder of Binance, ex-CEO of Binance. He got arrested for money laundering stuff, but now he's free, man, and he has a dog. His dog's name is Broccoli, and people decided to make a meme coin out of that, even though he was against it. But yeah, sure, it exists, and yeah, this is him burning the tokens for that. Burning tokens means less in circulation, means the price is supposed to go up. But yes, indeed, April Fool's Day, every little meme coin that's released on Binance just started dropping. You can't read the broccoli thing, BT. What does that mean? What do you mean, BT? Were you reading something here? Oh, this. Yeah, he's sending it to dead addresses. He's basically burning meme coins, right? Which is something that's supposed to meant to boost the price. But then the next day, every single meme coin, not every single one, but most of them, just started dropping. Quick, Test Coin, Lumia, DF, Hippo, Bananas, Kava, Dex, E, Act. Oh, yeah. My bad. But yeah, that's the main thing that you just gotta know. Weird stuff going on in April Fool's Day. This is cool and based, and I'm probably going to watch this. Pierre Poilievre is going to appear on Joe Rogan podcast, according to reports from conservative members of parliament. That'll be really cool. He's practically going to do what Trump did, and it's going to be beneficial for Pierre. I know Pierre is a good speaker, so I'm hoping that he, further proves himself and just continues doing a great job to get more people's votes here in Canada. Elections are coming up April 28th, so you know what you gotta do. We're in April already, which it's just something I can't believe. April and May have been two of the best performing months for Ethereum, historically speaking. Since inception, Ethereum has averaged 20 and 30% returns in April and May, so if history repeats itself, we will trade above $3,000 by May. I could absolutely see that happening. We'll see. Adoption time. Who likes getting adopted? MasterCard aims to enable 3.5 billion cardholders to move Bitcoin and crypto. So MasterCard is also getting in on that blockchain action. Here's their official statement about it. When it comes to crypto, we're all about helping people and businesses understand how blockchain and digital assets work and how our tech can solve issues and create more efficient systems. That'll be good. Indian public company Jet King will also raise money to purchase Bitcoin. And GameStop, we also know that they're doing the same thing. They've already raised $1.48 billion so far for their treasury reserve. So, yeah, it's happening. I was hoping it was $6 billion, but sure. I'll take $1.48 billion. That's fine. Add it to the market cap. Maybe that's what they're doing right now. Maybe they see this big drop and like, okay, well, we raised the money. I don't think Bitcoin's going to drop further. We'll just buy $1 billion and maybe they make the price go up 1%. I don't know. We don't know if they bought it yet. So that's still to be determined. Fidelity, we know who Fidelity is. Big investment agency institution. They're letting their investors directly invest in crypto through their new retirement plan. Hey, I think that's a great way to do this. If you want to save money for retirement, you can save it in Bitcoin. That's pretty good, right? I could, in Canada we have RRSP. In the US, I think it's a 401k plan, I think. Is that for retirement? What is 401k? I put KK. No, that's for, okay, wait, it is for employees, but what do you save it for? Tax deferred contributions. It sounds like an RRSP for retirement. Yeah, it is retirement savings. Okay, good. So similar deal, I guess. If you want to invest in a 401k, if you do it through Fidelity, you can invest in crypto. Don't go with something crazy. Like, I wouldn't even trust Ethereum or Solana for my retirement savings. Like, this is just something I'm making temporary money off of, which, thank you, Ethereum. I'm making so much money off of you right now. I'm not. But for Bitcoin, yeah. Bitcoin, I know for sure. By the time I'm 60, I'd be, I don't even know, super rich, right? So that's a good plan. I wish they had something like that in Canada. I'm pretty Fidelity has in Canada, I think. Fidelity Canada, is that real? Fidelity Canada. I see ads about it all the time, so surely. Don't do all on a meme coin for retirement. You're crazy. Yeah, Fidelity Investments Canada. Okay, maybe there is something there. Might have to switch insurance policies for that, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, we'll see. Now, people that are calling this, that's the end of the bull cycle, we're headed down from here. That's typically not the case. According to this chart and to this guy, you see that blue zone that we are nowhere near? That's typically the top of the cycle. 4 out of the 4 cycle tops is when we touch that blue line. The green dot, after the bump, 3 out of 3 times Bitcoin went parabolic right after that. Majority seems to think this time is different, but that's not the case. This time, it's cyclical, right? Every 4 years, we have a Bitcoin cycle. That's just how it is. And we're on our way back up. Just to show you, like, the pump that we had in November was only this much of an impact in the bump, right? We've seen these little tiny bumps before the bigger rise over here. We're just getting started. Like, honestly, this bull run is not over. We're going to go parabolic very soon. And I have a feeling that's gonna happen in May. May, first rate cut, great. June, another rate cut. No, we're not getting a June. It's in June. I'm wrong. I'm giving you guys misinformation. First rate cut is in June, not in May. I think. Hold on. No, that's not what I meant. Aggregated. Yes, so okay, no, it's not in May, sorry. It's in June. But May still is going to be good. We've just got so much good fundamentals. But I feel like for this month of April, we'll stay fine. We'll survive. We'll be in this zone for a while longer. Right over here. For 1 month. I think you can hold it off for 1 month. Trade in the range is what I would do. And that's the plan. I'm just going to trade within the range. Trump coin, his meme coin, is having its first major token unlock. Set for April 18, it will be releasing 40 million tokens, which is worth $431 million, or 20% of the circulating supply. That is not that good, because more tokens will be added in the circulation. That's $431 million that will be added, or that will be, you know, part of the market again, meaning that your coins will decrease in value if you do have a meme coin like Trump. Therefore, meme coins no good. Pump.fun is also selling its Solana. Why? Very cheap. They're doing it on Kraken. Probably part of the reason why also Solana has not been able to rise as much. We've seen it rise to 147. That was fine. But this drop that we had over here, the increase that we had was only up to 136 based off of the analysis. But I really like this price action though. We're still staying above the uptrend and the support. So Solana still has a good chance. Just Pump.fun is just selling. We have some stablecoin news as well. In Europe, Binance halted spot trading for any crypto pair that uses USDT. It's in order to comply with MiCA rules, which that's some regulation in Europe. I forgot what exactly it stands for. But you can still use USDT to trade perpetual futures, right? What does this mean in simple terms? If you want to buy or sell like the actual Bitcoin, you would have to use a different stablecoin. You can't use USDT. It would have to be USDC or, I don't know, Tron USD or First Digital USD. Is it DAI or DAO? I don't even know. There's other stablecoin options that you can use, right? But for USDT, it fails to comply with some of Europeans' regulations. So, you know, you can't use that anymore. But you can still use it to trade futures, which means you can still use it to trade leverage, where you don't actually own these coins, but you're multiplying the value that you have. It's good for trading, and, you know, you can still use that in Europe. For Binance. Tron... Okay, Justin Sun the CEO of Tron, which is another cryptocurrency. They recently moved to Solana. They also do have their stablecoin, TUSD. Pretty sure this isn't True USD. Am I wrong here? Is it from TrueFi? Let me just look up the coin just before I start talking too much about this. TUSD. Yeah, it is True USD. Is this from Tron? I don't think it is. It is from Tron. Okay, I didn't know First Digital Trust was from Tron. Okay, well there you go. Has a lot of stablecoins in many different countries. Like there's a True Canadian. I'm pretty sure there's a True British TCAD, right? True CAD is there. Price is not tracked. That's funny. What do we have? True GBP. Yeah, that's there too for Great Britain pound. It's basically Forex, but in a stablecoin of cryptocurrency, right? There you go. So apparently it started failing, which that is not good. And hang on. I closed some other tab here. What is this? Okay, my bad. $456 million in reserves got stuck in limbo, so he had to take money out of his pocket, put that money there to fix it. What exactly does getting stuck in limbo mean? That's similar what this comment says. It was in a $456 million deficit due to illiquid reserves, as revealed in Hong Kong court filings. That's not good. Ruins the credibility of this guy. He's always been a little bit of a sketchy guy in the whole crypto scene. I don't know. Always doing sketchy stuff, this guy. But hey, he had to do what he had to do to save True USD. Alright. Hope for Ethereum, because Ethereum does need to rise first. Ethereum actually passes Solana to reclaim the top spot in DEX trading for the first time since September. And I think that could spark alt season indeed, because Ethereum does need to rise. People are using Ethereum more now than Solana according to this, right? For decentralized exchanges, it used to be famous to do it in Solana, things like Radium, Hyperliquid, and Pump.fun. Seems like it's all moving over to Ethereum now. If you ask me to name some, I can't. Pancake is Binance. What's the other one? Uniswap. Uniswap is Ethereum. That's a decentralized exchange. And I'm sure I'm missing a ton more, but it's, you know, it's whatever. Ethereum is still massive. Bottom line. There was also a scam or a hack going around. A bit of both, actually. So a hacker stole 2,930 Ethereums from zkLend. zkLend is... What is zkLend? I have actually never heard of them. Money market protocol on Starknet. There was a hack on that. And they lost almost 3,000 Ethereums. Soon after they used Tornado Cash, which was just recently... Their SEC case was dismissed, or they got unbanned, or something like that, in the United States. So the hacker that managed to steal that Ethereum later on tried using Tornado Cash to send the money around and ended up losing all his Ethereum because it was a phishing website. That's pretty funny. So, bottom line, hacker steals Ethereum, tries sending it somewhere else, but ends up falling for a phishing scam and loses all of his Ethereum to another hacker, a cyber attacker. That's pretty funny. But people are speculating maybe he scammed himself with the phishing link so that he can later on come out, because he did reply like, hey man, I tried moving the funds to Tornado, but I used a phishing website and all the funds have been lost. I know I hacked you, but I've lost all the money that I hacked you for, so I'm sorry, there's nothing I could do about it. Try contacting the phishing website scammer owner. Like, that's pretty funny. And people are saying maybe he created the phishing website himself to pretend like, oh, he lost all the money, but in reality, he's also behind the phishing website to steal all the data, steal the coins. He has all the information. Yeah, funny. All right, M2 money supply. It's funny how quickly the sentiment can change. Hours before the Trump reciprocal tariffs, the predominant sentiment was that the 77-day M2 offset is more correct. And this is something that I actually felt because as we were rising, Bitcoin was reaching 88,500. I was like, okay, we're breaking this downtrend and we're not seeing the drop that I was expecting. That happened during Trump's speech, right? After Trump's speech, it's all in place still. But before Trump's speech, and I was saying, are we even going to see a drop here anymore? Like, it just seems we're about to hit 90,000 or something crazy. But, and if that was the case, that would invalidate what this is because we're expecting to see a drop for practically the rest of April until May. If we're using a 108-day offset on the M2 money supply, but we're using, many people use 70-day, right? 77-day, which it seems like that scenario was about to play out. The chart still kind of correlates on a 77-day, but it just correlates better on the 108-day. Hours after the Trump reciprocal tariffs, the predominant sentiment goes back to the 108-day M2 offset, which appears to be more correct now, after we're seeing the dip in the price, right? Yeah, that's where we are. That's why we shouldn't be quick to jump to conclusions. Global M2 is a macro indicator. It's not supposed to tell you specifically where we're going to see a drop or a pump, right? It's just supposed to give you a general idea of where the general direction is meant to be headed, right? The smaller the time frame you try to use it on, the higher the chance you will be wrong. This is why you shouldn't jump to conclusions with each price movement. In my opinion, the best approach is to observe patiently without jumping to major conclusions quickly, and definitely don't bet your life on an exact date. It's best to look at the big picture. That's why I always approximate beginning of May, end of this month. We're still going to stay down here for a while, right? Tariffs will start taking place April 5th. So, and also April 5th is Saturday. April 4 is also going to be important, right? We're going to get non-farm payroll data. So that can bring some volatility, probably toward the downside if the data is not good. Jobs report, unemployment, all that stuff. So, yeah. Either one could still be correct. I mean, even if it is 77-day, that's fine. I'm fine with it. Like, let it rise right now. I'm cool with it. I'm loaded up. But if this is the case, I'll accept it as a gift. It's a better chance to load up even more before we actually take off. And I still have some cash on the side. I'm willing to buy if we do continue seeing a dip, or if we just stay down for a very long time. I'll just go in and, we'll be fine. Feels like the market is going to cool off a bit after Trump tariff news, but again, we don't want to jump to conclusions. We'll watch and see if that is the case as the coming days progress. That's all I got to know. All right, I'll move on to some stocks news. We had a new stock come out, a new IPO, NMAX, Newsmax. It rose up a lot when it came out a couple days ago, 2 days ago maybe. NMAX, I'm going to find it. NMAX. Yep. Starting off at 14 peasant dollars, managed to reach a price of 286. And, yeah, all of that is gone now, by the way. I want to... What is this rise? Okay, wow. It rose 1,941%. And to move that same distance, almost that same distance, is an 83% drop. Can you imagine, like, do you understand the difference between the two percentages? Like, to increase 1,900%, and then to drop 83%, which is a significantly smaller number, you're back at almost the same level. Where current price is 46 on Newsmax. 47. Maybe 48. It's just, yeah, I don't know. Stocks are becoming the new meme coins, it seems like. That's pretty funny. Amazon, apparently, might buy TikTok. Amazon went up 1% on that news. Oh, also the fact that, I didn't mention this for Tesla, but when this rumor came out that Elon Musk was stepping away from Doge and from working with Trump, Tesla stock actually rose like 3% on that news. It could have been good news, right? Like, okay, finally, it seems like Elon Musk is stepping away from politics to focus more on the Tesla company. He's going to do something with Tesla now. He's going to fix the stock because it's dropped so much. It's dropped half of what it was worth. But no, apparently it's fake news. This TikTok situation specifically, it's probably due to the fact that, you know, Trump he's given a soft heart to TikTok now. Before he was against it in his first term, trying to ban it and everything, I'm pretty sure. It did get banned, but under Biden administration. And then, you know, he reinstated it, but they were saying, okay, but we can't have TikTok be owned by a Chinese company. It has to be owned by an American company. So go see if you can sell yourself to an American company. And it seems like Jeff Bezos might be the one. Yeah. Yeah, it's fake news with Elon. Apparently he was going to step away from Doge, from working with Trump. But it's not going to happen. Of course, he was mainly, Elon Musk was being attacked. Like, that's why we were seeing all these attacks on Tesla car factories and people, you know, rubbing their body parts on Cybertrucks and things like that. And it's all being recorded. They don't know, I don't know if they don't know, but you can record your car from all angles if you have a Tesla, right? So if you vandalize the car, they're going to see it. Anyway. Yeah, so it would have been good news. But for now, no. And yeah, Amazon might buy TikTok. There you go. Luigi Mangione. This guy is the guy that killed the CEO of a company called United Health Corporation. Probably it was motivated because he did have problems with his back, apparently. Luigi Mangione. He got famous on the internet for literally no reason, just because he killed a CEO, I guess. I don't know. And he's going to be given the death penalty according to the Department of Justice. So there you go. Attorney General Pamela Bondi is giving him the death sentence. There you go. Don't kill people. And for Ontario, minimum wage will increase to $17.60 per hour starting in October. Why October? Why not now? Like, would this even... Okay, no, I guess it has to do with who the premier is. I don't think the federal government has the way of influencing what the minimum wages for each provinces are. That would be up to the premiers, right? Premier of Ontario, Doug Ford. He's probably behind this decision. There you go. Yeah, kind of recovering. I think that's the bottom. There you go. XRP is $2.05. It reached a low of... Look at that. Perfect slowdown as well. This is practically just in line with what I was drawing out here. A low of 198 was our lowest point. We're currently $2.05, slowly recovering. Sui surprisingly did not drop that much, probably due to the fact that, you know, it had a big rise apart from the rest of the coins. It had a big drop apart from the rest of the coins. It didn't rise that much, but it also didn't drop that much. We're at $2.40 for Sui. That's pretty good. Sui is showing some strength during these times of tribulation. Interesting. Cardano is, it's doing its own thing. I don't know what to do with Cardano here. It's broken its uptrend. It's also broken its downtrend. It has a longer term downtrend, I'm pretty sure. No, not really. Well, yeah, a very longer term one, sure. But like recently, like, I don't know. You're stuck in a range for Cardano. Good luck figuring out where. But it seems like it's obviously in between these two levels. Pivot and support 1. Between 70 cents and 62 cents. 63, 62. Around there. Litecoin, similar deal. It's just got a lot of indecision. This uptrend, short term, gone. A lot of volatility for Litecoin. Went from 81 to 88. Dropped back down to 81. Currently 83. We're on a support. Previous support, right? And we slowed down significantly a couple times on the first support at 81.50. 81.50. Yeah. All right. Well, it's all up to Bitcoin. realistically. I think, like, this downtrend is weakened, right? We're going to stay sideways for a moment for the month. A lot of uncertainty still. Sure, the biggest news has passed. Look how far we could have increased by that. 88,000 seems to be the number. How low can we go? We know that all the liquidity is sitting down here at the 80,000, so price is likely not going to drop under 80,000. A lot of buying going on down there, if it ever does drop, myself included, right? We're going to stay within this range for a moment. 84,500 approximately on average. That's what I would estimate. 1 hour chart, no real trend, I'm pretty sure. No, we're in a downtrend still. But we didn't get our golden cross yet, so who knows. We might slow down for now, overnight, at 84,500. Shouldn't go higher than that. Yeah, that's all the news for tonight. That's your technical analysis. Hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching. I'll see you tomorrow with more news. What do we have tomorrow? That's Canada news. Nobody cares about Canada. Some feds will be talking in the evenings. Not evening, afternoon, sorry. And then Friday. Friday's the big day. Unemployment rate, non-farm payroll. And Fed Chair Powell speech at 11:25 a.m. Okay, I didn't know Fed Chair Powell was going to be talking here. That's going to be important too. All right. Volatile day Friday. Tomorrow's going to be relaxed. Maybe we get some responses from these other countries. See what they say in response to these Trump tariffs. That might cause some volatility. It's the only thing that I can see, though. Other than that, no. Not much is going to happen. All right. Yeah, now I'll be going by for